the Funny Comics Fan Club.
Hello, and welcome to the Funny Comics Fan Club with me, Dr. Mark Hibbett.
And me, not Dr. John Dredge.
Not a doctor.
Although some people do call me Dr. Edge, but only people that are really annoying.
That is annoying.
Yeah, because my PE bag used to have Dredge on it at school, but the way it was knitted made it look like Dr. Edge, so everyone took the mickey out of it, and I've never lived it down. Either that or Judge Dredge.
Judge Dredge, yeah.
I've had that for years as well.
That's a pretty cool superhero name, though, isn't it? Dr. Edge.
Dr. Edge, yeah. Sounds like the bloke out of the Muppets or something.
Yeah. So that's not what we're talking about. So what we're here to talk about is old British comics. So the idea of the podcast is...
Funny British
comics, funny old British comics, or old British comics that are funny, probably to be absolutely clear.
Let's get it right.
Let's get it right. And what's going to happen is John and I are going to look at an old issue of an old British comic that's funny, and then at the end we're going to fill in one of the cut-out coupons that you get that says my favourite features are 1, 2 and politely sorry I don't like. So that's the idea. So we're going to talk it through and then work out what we liked about it. So what comic, John, are we looking at today?
We're looking at Jackpot comic from 1979, 1st of December 1979. We're looking at number 31, which was 10 pence.
Amazing.
That was all my pocket money back in 1979.
That was all your pocket money?
Yeah, I had nothing left.
Goodness me, you poor thing.
Yeah, not even a penny chew could I buy after this. But I did used to get this quite a lot. This was out every Thursday. It's a humour comic. Is that what you call these sort of comics?
I think so.
A humour comic.
A young people's humour comic.
Yeah.
And hang on, I'm just going to have a quick...
He's always sniffing the comic.
I do love to sniff a comic. Oh, it smells like a proper comic. It's lovely, isn't it?
It's got that 1979 smell of that.
It really has got that smell. You go, getting whiffs of Thatcher.
and punk venues. And spit.
Yeah, all of that's in there. And it's basically printed on toilet paper, isn't it?
It's amazing it survives.
It's incredible, yeah.
And, pretty much without a blemish.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah. And it looks great, doesn't it, Jackpot? Because the cover is... A lot of these old comics have comic strips on the front, but Jackpot usually had an actual big picture, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's really attractive to look at, to me, even now. I mean, I used to buy this. I used to look forward to reading it. It's a classic old humour comic for kids. And, yeah, the cover star is the Incredible Sulk.
Yeah.
It says on the front, Jackpot, the only comic with the Incredible Sulk. There he is.
Because around this time the Hulk was on telly, wasn't he? The Lou Ferrigno, Bill Bixby, the Hulk was on telly.
It was a big hit, the Incredible Hulk, massive with kids.
Yeah.
But he's just constantly sulking all the time. As you can see on the front of the cover, he's having a bit of a strop in various stroppy positions. And I could relate to this character because I was like that. I was constantly sulking all the time.
Yeah.
If I didn't get my way, if I couldn't watch a certain programme on the television, then I would just strop about.
You're fairly like that now, aren't you?
Yeah, nothing changed.
Nothing changes. But should we look at that strip then? Because I mean, it's a brilliant. I mean, I thought this was amazing. This Incredible Sulk strip, because a bit of looking up has been gone into this. He's actually drawn by a bloke called Jim Petrie, who was the artist on Minnie the Minx for about 40 years. For the purpose of the tape, I am flicking the pages. That is a noise you can hear.
This one. It's in red. It's in red ink.
It's in red ink.
Red and black.
Exactly the same as Minnie the Minx was, wasn't it? Minnie the Minx was, because this is a thing they used to do. They couldn't afford. Well, they probably could afford, but they weren't going to spend the money on full colour. So based in these comics, you got a full colour cover and the centre pages of colour, and then occasionally have either black and red or black and blue colouring. And yes, I had noticed that, and the Incredible Sulk looks like a Minnie the Minx strip from the Beano, and it's coloured like a Minnie the Minx strip as well. I
mean, I remember there was something, TV Comic.
Yeah.
I remember buying that around this time, and there was a feature in that called The Incredible Bulk. It's a little kid who, when he ate some sherbet, he became this huge Incredible Bulk character that was blue. And that was a more obvious direct parody of the Hulk. Whereas this isn't really that sort of thing, really, is it?
No, it's not. It's just, I mean, all of these strips, pretty much all of them are puns of some sort, aren't they? Get the name, just go, what's a pun? Oh, we'll do a comic about that, and then apart from Kid Kings in this, isn't there? Things like, there's some quite odd. There's a character called Crybaby,
Yeah.
Literally just cries all the time.
I mean, those are characters kids can relate to even today.
But it seems to me, doesn't it? There's a lot of kids behaving really badly.
Yeah, and other kids like seeing that portrayed in, Just William and things like that. Not so much the famous five, they're all goody goodies.
They're extreme goody goodies, weren't they? Yeah.
But everybody still likes Just William pretty much, I think.
Or Dennis and Ellis, isn't he? As well, Sweeney Toddler, or any of those sort of characters, yeah.
There was one called Babyface Finlayson. I can't remember where that's from. But
that's Nabino, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
The worse behaved, the better the kids like it.
Yeah.
Because they can't, it's like they're enjoying it through, what's that word? They can't do it themselves, so they experience it through the characters in the comic.
Yeah. I love this. The start is brilliant because the Incredible Sulk's going tum-ti-tum. Gosh, I'm so happy today. And his dad says, "Bet that won't last." And he gets a spot on his nose, and then the whole rest of the strip is him just throwing a massive wobble at about It's brilliant, isn't it?
It is a really, really good one.
Yeah.
And then in the second panel, the father's addressing the audience.
Yeah.
The sulky kid says, I've got a spot on my nose. And the father looks at the camera and says, what did I tell you?
And there's a lot of that, isn't there? All the way through it, there's always characters talk, or this like editor's voice or the reader's voice pops in.
Yeah, and it makes you feel more involved in it.
Yeah, I suppose it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Because, I mean, this comic is very good at, getting the kids involved. There are all these mad prizes in this that we'll talk about in a minute, I guess, but that was obviously seeking to get the readership involved all the time, and the competitions are amazing. To me, they still seem amazing.
Well, it's crazy. I was amazed when I read this about how acquisitive the whole comic is. Because, I mean, it's called Jackpot, so you'd assume you're going to hit the jackpot, which I never got at the time.
I never thought of that.
But there are so many competitions in this.
Yeah.
There's loads. It's like going, if you buy this comic, you can win things.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, so many of the stories in this are about getting money. There's it's like, I've got a list. I made a list of all. So Richie Rags, Marathon Butt, Little and Large Lenny, Good News, Bad News, Jackpot, The Prize Pages, and Keep King are all about getting money.
Wow.
And it used because I think it's famous in some of the old so this is an IPC comic, I should say, as opposed to a DC Thompson comic. So the DC Thompson one was always a bit more old-fashioned, and in those ones, everybody was always hungry. And they're always getting a slap-up feed, aren't they? And it's cow pies or whatever.
Everyone was poor.
Everyone was really poor.
Apart from Lord Snooty.
Who hangs around with poor people. So
and helps them out. Yeah.
But in
vicarious, that was the word.
That was the word.
Vicarious,
just slipping that one in there.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Knew what it was.
I knew what it was. Just didn't want to make you feel bad. That was good. Don't you have a sulk about it.
but the Incredible Sulk is mad, isn't it? I mean, it's fun. The drawing is great, the artwork is great. I mean, he's constantly hiding in curtains or under tables, just having a bit of a strop, as you say.
Yeah, and there's so much movement. It's so dynamic.
A lot of movement.
Yeah,
and he's got a big S on his T-shirt standing for Sulk, so he must know that he's a Sulk.
But it seems that his name is Sulk, I think, which is nominative determinism gone mad.
Is that his name?
I think it's his name. They call him Sulk all the time.
Yeah, okay. Because a lot of the characters' names are a bit ambiguous in this. They're not. It's not like this character's name is definitely Jeremiah Plympton or something.
No.
It's much more abstract than that.
Well, Jeremiah Plympton wouldn't really work anyway, would it? Because
it's too long for kids to read,
and it's got to be a pun, hasn't it? It's got to be a pun.
It's got to be a pun. Yeah. Kids get bored by the time they're on the fifth syllable of that name.
I suppose if it was a bit later and into the 80s, and he was a new romantic character, it could be Jeremiah Plympton. He plays a synth. That would work.
That sounds more like a Viz character.
Yeah, call me DC Thompson. I'm here for this.
Yeah.
So that's Incredible Sulk.
I enjoyed that. That was like, a lot of these strips have got art that sort of springs off the page. Really intense and mad and sort of funny.
And I thought this really stands out because it's such a distinctive style. You see that and you go like, it's me, the Minx. And it's here, and it's a different size comic, and it's a different smelling comic, I'm sure. Yeah, I thought it was pretty nice. That's an early start for number one for me.
But it's only one page. Most of these in here, one page and it's finished. I mean, how many pages? How many panels is that?
There's 30. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
12
7,
panels.
12 panels. Yeah.
So you've got a whole story, beginning, middle, and end in 12 panels. Not bad. Not bad. The guy knew what he was doing.
I think he knew what he was doing, yeah.
Yeah, we like the Incredible Sulk. Yeah, the cover star this week is the Sulk, and for good reason.
For very good reason.
Yeah. He must have been popular.
But I would like to draw your attention to a story that I did not like, that I've chosen because I did not like it.
Oh yeah.
And that is one, I think it's the second story in there, Angels Proper Charlies.
I hated this story.
Oh, I hate this story.
And that's like right at the start of the comic as well, so that's a bit of an off-putting one.
So again, it's another TV-based pun because it's Charlie's Angels, isn't it? Again, and for those not familiar with this, I assume anybody listening to this who remembers will now be stomping around their house in a fury at the memory of this. But the idea is, Angel is a pretty young girl. The Charlies are 3 young boys who are in love with her, and basically the whole point of the strip is she fools them into doing stuff for her because they're in love with her and she knows it. And in this one, she takes these 3 idiots and basically gets them chased by a ravenous dog so that a handsome boy who she likes can come and rescue her from a tree.
I mean, I didn't like that personally. I still don't like it. I mean, is this comic like for boys and girls? Is it? Do you think that's how it was?
I don't know. I think it's more. All the lead characters are boys, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I mean,
but apart from this one, is it?
Yeah, apart from this one, she's horrible.
She is horrible. So what message is that trying to send in 1979?
There is millionaire, but say millionaire and penniless.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, that was a good little strip. Yeah. About obviously a posh person and someone with no money. Again, the money thing coming into
exactly. Yeah, and it's amazing how many of these comics. Whenever you look at these, there's nearly always a strip where there's some rich people and some poor people fighting each other all the time. It's really like class war. There's
another one in this very comic called Class War, which is
called
the same
Class
thing.
War. It's called Class War, isn't it? It's amazing. Yeah.
And it's like a class of posh people, a class of like poorer people, and they're having a go at each other. So yeah, it's an old standby.
See, Thatcher was about to come in.
Yeah.
And as far as I was put an end to Class War, as far as I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Put an end to Jackpot comic.
But I think this one, Angels Proper Charlies, I blame this for the incel movement because this is like a woman using men with her looks, and that's like
it's just nothing good about the whole idea. Not today.
I did like,
and probably not back then.
Not now.
No, we dislike that one.
We dislike. But let's move on. Yeah, you like this one, Full of Beans.
Full of Beans. Yeah. So. I was looking online for any information about some of these things.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I did come up with something. I found something on the International Superhero site about this character called Full of Beans.
Because the idea is he eats beans and becomes really strong, doesn't he?
So it's like Popeye, really. It's
exactly like Popeye.
Except instead of with spinach, with beans. Or it's like a bit like the Incredible Hulk even. Because it's like a skinny little brat turning into, again, a sort of a large, oafish, strong person.
So it's like beans instead of a massive dose of radiation. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like Captain Marvel with beans instead of magic.
Exactly.
This is how we go with it.
It's as if Bill Bixby had downed a can of Heinz beans and ended up in this way. So again, it's like TV related in a very sort of vague way.
And it's very British version of it, isn't it? It's a can of baked beans.
It's a can of baked beans, and I've got the origin story here.
Oh yes, please.
I won't read all of it, but I'll read a bit of it. Whenever Freddy eats a tin of beans, I mean, he's not even referred to as by name in this whole strip, but anyway, whenever Freddy eats a tin of beans, he becomes superhumanly strong, fast and agile for a limited time. Freddy's powers came from Ben's Beans, a new brand of tinned baked beans which he found in his local corner shop in Jackpot 1. Freddy was the very first person to buy a tin, and consequently he won a prize, as many tins as he could carry. Clever Freddy used his newfound powers to scoop up every single tin of Ben's Beans in the store, and he stored them in the attic of his parents' house. There you go.
So is that why nobody else
has become strong in this manner? So yeah. But I always liked. I mean, I actually remembered this strip. Obviously, I remember the comic, but individual characters not so much. But Full of Beans, that was still in the back of my mind somewhere. And this story is really funny. He basically wants to play an instrument so he can be like a pop group.
The Fat Slobs.
Which is, one of the best names for a pop group I've ever heard. The Fat Slobs. I mean, and then you see the poster and these skinny rakes.
Yeah.
And it's on the wall and all these girls are swooning over the Fat Slobs.
And they've all got spiky hair, so this is a punk band, isn't it?
I guess it is 79, yeah. And so he's jealous of these fat slobs. So he says, maybe I'll be able to, with the help of my special beans, play an instrument or become musical or something. I don't know.
That's generally how it works.
That's apparently how it works. Yeah. So he eats all these beans, and then has a go at some musical instruments and ends up, his super strength ends up sort of ripping them apart or breaking them. And then in the end he turns back into Freddy, and he's hanging around the garden, and someone says, oh, all these tins of beans that you've left strewn all over the lawn, pick them up, the empty tins of beans. And he does that, and he puts them on the washing line and starts playing them with some spoons, and everyone's very pleased about it.
Yeah, so did the girls love him at the end because he's doing that?
Yeah, pretty much. Or the neighbour does anyway. The neighbour likes it.
Yeah.
But good, silly drawing, and I found it entertaining. Lots of sound effects.
Yeah.
For example, gloop, doying, zoom, and not forgetting plink plonk.
So it's interesting because it's kind of like a history of music at this era, because he goes from punk at the start and he's basically Brian Eno by the end, isn't it? Or is it Womack with he's hitting these cans going plink plonk? It's like, it's amazing. I did think the bit where he plays drums and he just hits it so hard he smashes them, that's basically factually accurate. I know loads of drums like that. That's just how it works, they do that.
Again, that reminds me of the Muppets that would have been on around this time, Animal bashing the hell out of the drums. But I don't know, I really liked it, so that's another tick for me.
It is a good one, that is. I really enjoyed that one. And it's drawn by, I should say, because I also did this one, so it's Tom Patterson do this, who do it
he's great.
Loads and loads of
stuff. He's great.
And as you say, it does look gorgeous, doesn't it? The art is all good.
And on the final panel, there's some bloke walking past the fence with a sign that says "Read Jackpot." Yeah. I mean, is that his job?
And it's sticking out of his hat, though, isn't it? He's not holding it up. He's just sticking out of his hat.
So that's so he's been paid by the editors to wander around with that in his hat. Not a bad job. Not a bad day's work. Job.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
And gets to appear in the strip as well.
And I thought it was interesting because that sort of thing, having like these little background and stuff. Say Tom Patterson does that. But it comes from, and this is going to be a link to the next strip, you're going to like this. It comes from Leo Baxendale, obviously the great Uber creator of all British comics. He created, him and Dudley Watkins basically created everything. And Leo Baxendale is amazing, sort of jiggly wobbly style of all this sort of stuff. Much like the next strip we're going to have a look at, which is called The Teeny Sweeney.
Yeah. So that did I choose that, or did you
chose that one?
Well, I loved that. I mean, originally I was going to choose Kid King, which I enjoyed, but this one just, I don't know, this took the biscuit for me. I mean, The Teeny Sweeney, what a great idea.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's a parody of the Sweeney that was very popular at that point. For anyone who doesn't remember the Sweeney, it was John Thorne, Dennis Waterman, and it was a fairly violent cop show.
Violent, yeah.
It was a cop show that was on at this time. Extremely popular. Was it Regan and Carter? Was that their names?
That was it, yeah.
But kids wouldn't have been watching that.
Kids wouldn't have been watching that, would they?
All I could think was they had trailers for that show earlier in the day. So, just before the news at 5:45, they might trail the Sweeney later on. So maybe kids, if they weren't able to stay up late and watch it, which they shouldn't have been able to. Although some people might have talked about it in the playground the day after, and people like me that weren't allowed to watch it would probably be fascinated.
Yeah. Content warning, not suitable for 10-year-olds, is this Sweeney.
Yeah, but I think maybe we must have been, because I had a quick look into this, and there was an annual of the Sweeney.
Right, yeah.
So maybe there was some sort of, kids watching it, late at night if the parents are out or something. But the Teeny Sweeney, the idea of it is, it's three kids who look a little bit like a young Regan and Carter, and there's some driver guy as well, and they're all sort of in this flying squad go-kart thing.
It's a karty, isn't it? It's a proper real-life British comics karty. A box, a plank, and some wheels.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been just as good a title, I think.
So I used to have one of these. My dad made us an actual real-life karty.
Did it work all right?
It did work all right. Well, I'm from, as you know, John, and some of our listeners may know, I'm from Peterborough, which is very, very, very flat. So if you get in a
Peterborough.
This is why I call it karty. It's not a go-kart, because it doesn't go. It don't go nowhere. You just sort of sit
it's just a cart.
Oh, this is exciting. It's just a car. Just a car.
But, so, I mean, I loved it. I mean, I love the art.
By Mike Brown, the art is by. I always feel the need to say this.
Is he good? I mean, do we know much about him?
I don't know much about him. No. Actually, no.
But he's done a brilliant job here.
Yeah.
Because it's just really intense.
Yeah.
And very just silly, and the story is a bit silly. It's just like he sees somebody walking past, and they ask for a jeweller's, and he's got a brick in his hand, and they tell him where the jewellers is, and then they suddenly think, oh wait a minute, he might be going to commit a smash and grab here.
Yeah.
So they go after him in their carty, and it turns out to be, I mean, this is the stupidest explanation of this ever. He says, my firm, the glass company, have just installed a new type of smash-proof window in this shop. I've been sent to test it with this brick.
Yeah, that's how they do it. What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
That's how they do it.
See that every day.
Yeah.
And then the little kid who looks a bit like John Thor, who's known only as Gov, says, oh, can I try throwing a brick at a window? I've always wanted to do it. He throws it, it smashes through the window because they're in the wrong street, because the teeny Sweeney told him the wrong place to go.
Well, to be accurate, let's be fully accurate.
Fully accurate.
Fully accurate. What they did was they said, they sent him to the jewellers that are called Watts in Watson Street, and where they ended up was a jewellers called Watson's in Watt Street. And you think between the two, surely this has happened before, because as we said, window testing is a regular part of business life.
Window testing used to, yeah, in '79 you couldn't go down the street without window testers bothering you.
It was one of our great industries of this nation that Thatcher destroyed, window testing.
But there were some really funny, stupid jokes that I always like, excuse me, we have reason to believe that the brick you're carrying is a brick. I mean, I thought that was a nice little line.
That's a good line.
But then there's a bit here where the bloke immediately smashes the brick down on this kid's head.
Oh, he does, yeah.
I mean, that is pretty violent.
See, good and solid, he says.
For a kid's car, I mean, I'm sure the kids absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
But then again, the series itself was pretty violent, the Sweeney itself.
Yeah, I suppose that's the point, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, at least they don't go shagging any birds or being racist.
That doesn't happen in this. But I don't know. I just really like the character of it, and I could remember it from when I saw it. I immediately remembered it.
Yeah, and it looks lovely. I mean, I say it is in this sort of Leo Baxendale style. It's all really, everything looks jiggly. It looks like everything's made of jelly somehow. It's all sort of wobbling, isn't it?
Yeah. That's just one of the standouts for me. So that's actually my favourite strip in the whole thing.
Oh, it's great. And now a quick word from our sponsors.
Clobber, the fabulous new chase game with Pop-O-Matic Popper and the crazy Mr. Clobber. Watch your step or he'll kick your counter right round the track. From Peter Pan Playthings Limited, Bretton Way, Bretton, Peterborough, PE3 98W.
Although I would say, I would like to draw attention to something, not just in this one, but in all the strips in this comic. The lettering is terrible.
Is it?
It's really bad. Yeah. I mean, if you're in American comics, then the lettering is hand drawn, and you have nice smooth balloons and sort of that. You have a circle or something. Or in 2000 AD, lettering's very nice. But here it's basically somebody has sat on a typewriter and bashed it out in capitals for the whole thing.
Look at that. That looks like they Tipex one of the words out.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Oh God, I noticed that. Yeah. For the purpose of the tape, John is pointing at an obviously Tipex out piece of lettering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's other bits where there's they've made a mistake and go, oh, sorry, just leave it. They've missed space, and then it's they've done that, and then just this really horrible black line just around the. It's awful. And
yes, it is.
I just think it's really weird that the art is so great. But nearly everything else is terrible. I mean, the letterings, and in the nicest possible way, the stories aren't brilliant, are they?
They're not brilliant.
What's on Watson Street and what's on Watt Street? It's
no, but what I think the things that are strong about it is the actual idea of some of these. Most of these, the idea behind most of these is pretty strong. Yeah, the content isn't always great, but they do stick in the mind.
They do stick in the mind, and I would now like to move on to a story that is. I'm doing segues, and it's good.
Yeah, your segue Sid. Segue Sid, the Lincoln Kid.
Oh, I love it. That's me. Thanks, Dr. Edge. That's me from now on. Well, I'm talking about this one. So this is on the back page. This is the Amazing Three, and I just think this. I always remember this strip from Jackpot because I don't think I ever really bought Jackpot very often, but it was always in the. You remember when it was a rainy day and you get a big pile of comics would come out at school or at a jumble sale. There always seems to be loads of copies of this. And I remember the Amazing Three because the Amazing Three are basically superheroes. So it's the Blue Wizard, Tanya, and Oakman. Who are basically Zatanna from DC Comics, Wonder Woman from DC Comics, and the Thing from Marvel Comics. And what happens is
British version,
very very British versions.
Have they got British accents?
Yeah. I think they're definitely in this country. The UK characters. and they don't instead of a can of beans, they say the magic words "rings of Zor," and it turns them into superheroes. And I think this is really because the guy who did this is Trevor Metcalf.
Trevor Metcalf. So he did Birdman and Chicken.
He did Birdman and Chicken as well,
which is probably my all-time favourite humour comic strip.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of detail in this.
There's a lot. I mean, this is very nearly. I mean, it is fun, but it's kind of a proper superhero story. This, because there's a baddie who's trapped them. What he's done is he's made it impossible for them to say their magic words. So instead of saying them, Tanya writes them in the earth, and that seems to work. That seems to be fine.
That's good, because what's good about it is, even if you haven't seen these before, you can work out what's going on from reading this.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's like a proper old-fashioned superhero comic. It starts with a longer panel that's like the splash page. It says, here's what happened last time. There's some exciting things that happen, and they get to the end, they go, we found the baddie, and there's thousands of him. It's basically like the end of Ant-Man Quantumania, but better, really.
It is good,
it's amazing,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic, this one.
I like all the characters here. As you say, Oakman is a British version of the Thing, but who cares? It's good fun.
It's fabulous. And I think the reason why this stuck in my memory a lot is because these characters actually appeared in 2000 AD.
After this or before
this? After this.
Okay.
So there was basically a grim and gritty version of these characters.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Called The Amazing Three?
No, well, what happened was in the story Zenith in 2000 AD, in book 3 of Zenith, it's an amazing story where Grant Morrison brings in loads and loads of superheroes from DC Thompson Comics and IPC Comics. And the Amazing Three are some of the main characters in that. Spoilers for any, if you haven't, listen away now if you've never read Zenith Book 3, but do if you haven't, because it's great. Tanya gets killed, and the Blue Wizard and Oakman erect a memorial to her.
And it's all like quite serious, is it?
Yeah, and it's brilliant. Well, I mean, like a lot of the characters that I play for laughs, like the leper from Lime Street is a complete dweeb. But the Amazing Three are treated with full respect by Grant Morrison as proper superheroes, and it's brilliant. It's so nicely done, and it's. But
so he must have grown up with it then.
I guess so. Yeah, he was about our age, so I assume he would have read this. But I really like. I think it's so well done.
It's not actually a humour strip. This.
No.
It's sort of a fairly straight superhero adventure.
Yeah.
But again, the amount of information that's conveyed really well in 10 panels or whatever is brilliant, and there's action in it.
Yeah.
There's really colourful costumes and things. I mean, you got the enemy's green, and you got the Blue Wizard there.
Yeah.
Just like nicely done, nice colourful pictures.
Yeah,
I liked
it's
it.
fantastic, isn't it? I really like that because Birdman and Chicken, which was in Crazy Comic, is played for laughs, isn't it?
Yeah, it is funny. It's a straight parody of Batman and Robin. Before I'd seen any other parodies of Batman and Robin, that's probably why I really loved it, because I hadn't seen, when I was 8, I hadn't seen anything like it before.
Well, I think that's what you like what you were saying with the Teeny Sweeney, isn't it? I think because those sort of things, like the idea of as I say, coming from Peterborough, most of the TV programs I saw were about farming. So I know that you used to be in LWT and what have you, watching all the exciting stuff. We just got farming.
Yeah, we got chips.
You got chips, yeah, exactly.
I'm still to recover from that.
I'm going to have an Incredible Sulk. But then but I think you're right. It's like but you would see it, but I think, I really want to see what that's about, and this is really exciting.
Yeah. No, so full marks to Mr. Metcalf for that one.
That's pretty well.
Have I got another one?
You have. So we've got Terror Toys.
Okay.
To look at. That's our...
So Terror Toys, actually, again, I mean, this is not a humour strip.
No, not at all.
But I've gone for it because it stood out, because it looks. As soon as you see these pages, they spring out at you, because it's mainly sort of black and white, and there's a lot of black ink in it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. You can tell that it's a more serious strip just because of the style of it. And again, it's quite good. They tell you what's going on at the start, so you know what's going on. So I'll read out the blurb at the start of the Terror Toys. Yeah. The dreaded toy maker had sent a squad of terror teddy bears to spread fear through the village of Blampton.
Blampton.
You see, this went into my mind. Tim and Susan Blake destroyed all the teddies except one, the squad leader himself. So that is, a great idea. Terror Toys wandering around destroying the villages.
Yeah.
And 2 kids as the sort of heroes.
And they're bouncing around on a space opera.
Well, this is the main reason I chose it.
Right, okay.
Because most of this particular episode is taken up with a terror teddy bear on a space hopper, just hopping about.
Just hopping about.
And they're following him on this space hopper. I mean, who didn't have a space hopper in 1979?
I had a space hopper.
We all. I mean, you had a cart, but I know most people did have a space. I mean, so combining that with a sort of monster teddy bear is pretty cool.
They don't give chase. Do they give chase in a space hopper? No, they find an abandoned space hopper.
Well, no. First of all, they start chasing him in some canal boats that they find. Just you know,
every had a canal boat in 1979.
Yeah, there was some abandoned canal boats they just happened to be able to borrow. It says here, so you know they were well within the letter of the law. They follow him at a distance so he can't see them. This terror teddy bear. Yeah. He abandons. There's a lot of abandoning going on. Right? He abandons the space hopper. And then they follow him into this tunnel. But the thing is, they never refer to the space hopper as a space hopper. It's called a hopperoo for copyright reasons, I expect. But who's ever heard of a hopperoo? Nobody. It doesn't exist. So, you know, they must have thought, oh, we don't want palatoy breathing down our necks or whatever it is.
But it does look exactly like a space hopper.
It does.
It is a space hopper.
It is a space hopper, yeah. I don't know if you've got, you know, space hopper, Tipex down, hopperoo written in. But they go in the tunnel. And oh my goodness me, they are instantly pounced upon by giant robot toy spiders.
They're amazing, aren't they?
Which is, you know, quite nightmarish.
Yeah.
For anybody, let alone kids. And the robot spiders tie them up in their horrible web. But they're about to get eaten, I think. So it's blooming, pretty sort of nasty. But then at the end he says, "For goodness sake, try and get a hand free. Unless we can blow the spider's main circuits, we're done for." What do you think they'll do next week? Blow the spider's main circuits, perhaps?
I assume they die, don't they, John? It's just that.
Well,
we'll have to find out.
We'll have to find out by reading the next exciting episode of the Terror Toys. Yeah,
but it's scary because it's drawn by what's his name? Francesc Massip, who's a Catalan artist. And he did a lot of work in romance comics, and I think that's why this looks like. Do you remember Misty comic? Yeah. And that was always just terrifying, and it always looked like this with lots of heavy black, and it's like, it's amazing. What on earth is it doing in the middle of Jackpot comic?
Yeah. I don't know that. I mean, did most of these humour comics have a serious bit in the middle somewhere?
Well, I don't remember them having it, but then I've looked at some other comics, and it pops up. It keeps popping up, so it's odd, isn't it? But I don't remember it.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the style of the rest of it at all. But possibly for that reason, I don't know, I just liked it. Yeah. But and in fact there is an advert for Misty in this very edition.
There is, yeah.
So anyway, I like that.
That's
another good one.
So those are our main ones. I think there's a couple of other things I wanted to draw your attention to.
Yeah. Because
this has got a strip called Gremlins in it, which is drawn by Steve Bell from The Guardian. Which also looks surprisingly wibbly wobbly and jiggly, doesn't it? But
I mean, really nice artwork. Again, the content isn't exactly great, but the idea is brilliant. These little gremlin monsters that attack, your garden fence.
They're just being belligerent about it.
Just for fun, and I just like those characters.
And then we talk about Millionaire and Penniless, which is our class war strip, which is obligatory in all of this. And then the other thing was it's just the amount of money. It's the money thing. That's what's sticking in my mind. It's all about money.
It's all about money. Yeah. Well, and in fact, that might be a good point just to quickly go over some of the competitions that they had in other Jackpot comics, which I think are the best competitions for a kids comic that I've ever seen. The competition winners in this, actually, there is a competition winners section. So they've just had a competition in the previous issue, I think. Jackpot Smith's competition winners it has here, and the prize here was to win your weight in Smith's snacks.
Amazing.
So it says here, first prize, the neatest entry.
The neatest entry. A different time.
Yeah, the one not covered in chocolate smudges was Verity Harrison of Hartlepool. If you're listening, Verity, get in touch.
Many congratulations. Have you finished eating all them crisps yet?
Verity will be put on the scales and weighed against a mountain of Smith snacks, including Bones, Frazzles, Bats, Quavers, Twists, Crazy, Monster Munch and Claws. When Verity's weight and the snacks balance out, we'll know just how many mouth-watering packets of goodies she has won.
I wonder if that actually happened. That's amazing, isn't it?
I don't know, but you see, what I noticed is, like, a few issues later, they have a drawing of the winner and what she did with, what the result of the competition, what happened to her with the prizes and things like that. So I think, it looks like it happened.
Yeah.
And some of the other competitions were win a bath full of lemonade.
Lovely.
raid a sweet factory and make a bicycle at a bike factory and keep it. I mean, all these things, you don't like that.
I don't like that one.
You don't like
it. Are you a qualified bicycle engineer? So they go, win a rubbish bike that doesn't work, and it's your fault.
And another really good one was like, have a look round Concorde.
That's pretty good.
You go to the airport,
yeah.
You look round Concorde and you meet the pilot. You don't actually fly anywhere.
Right?
I mean, they weren't made of money.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of the, you know, these prizes would sort of stick in your head as a kid, and you think, my God, I really want to raid a sweet factory. I really want a feast at a chocolate factory. A lot of these take place in factories. Maybe the factories, you know.
It's the 70s. There were still factories in those days. Plutonium factory.
I really loved all these competitions. And the last thing I wanted to sort of mention, I mean, you know, the Jackpot prize pages were great. Just brilliant. Like, there's a really good, this is where the readers wrote in.
Yeah.
There's a really good letter here from one of the readers. I'm writing to you on behalf of the MEMA, Manufacturing of Exclamation Marks Association, to praise you for the constant use of our products. In a recent issue, we counted more than 500 of our marks. Just stuff like that. And that's from a kid.
That's fantastic.
Sydney Tucker, New Cross.
Sydney Tucker, that was very good. We enjoyed that one.
And the other funny thing was, there's an advert in here for 2000 AD with Tornado.
Yes.
And there's a bit here that I'm really intrigued by. There's a big horrible picture of Patrick Moore on it, on the advert, and it says 2000 AD scoops an exclusive article from the fast-talking star of TV's longest-running series, The Sky at Night. Patrick Moore talks about the possibilities of time travel and how you can travel in time tonight in your own back garden.
What?
I wonder what the hell that was. I'm intrigued by that.
Dig that one out.
Yeah, I'd love to find out what he said. What he allegedly said.
It's going to be something terrible like, you can look and see the stars there from a long time. He's like, no, Patrick, or no, try again, Patrick.
Yeah. But they sold it brilliantly.
Yeah.
You know, like most comics back in the day, the way they sold it was, you know, pretty great. And
there's a picture of the USS Enterprise there, just hanging around.
Yeah. Star Trek competition. If you aim to win this £500 competition starting last week, you'll need this issue too. 500 quid to win.
500 quid?
I mean, I'd like that now.
I'd have that now, yeah, that'd be amazing.
So that was 2000 AD with Tornado.
I tell you what, John, if we can try and travel tonight, we can win that competition.
Let's do it. Yeah. Transmute. That's not right.
That's not right. So
that is Jackpot from the 1st of December 1979.
So what do we think then? I think so. On the prize pages, there's the coupon that says my favourite ones are 1, 2. Sorry, I don't like. So between us, I think we both hate Angel's Puppet Charlie's.
Yeah, that's the I'm sorry we don't like.
That is I'm sorry we don't like. That's good. That's got that out of the way.
That's that.
That's it. I also another nomination would be for the Legend, which I think is subpar, but we'll let that go.
Okay.
We'll let that go for now.
Yeah.
And then 1 and 2. Do you want to have one of them as your favourite, and I'll have the other one?
Well, I do like the Incredible Sulk.
I also like the Incredible Sulk. I think we should put that as number 1 then.
That's number 1.
That's brilliant, isn't it? We love that one.
I mean, and you know, I like the Teeny Sweeney, but I'm happy to. What would you say?
Well, I like the Amazing 3.
I like the Amazing 3.
But so we want to have a joint. It's the first time we're doing this. Let's start in a delightful. Let's have a joint second place. The Amazing 3 and the Teeny Sweeney.
That sounds good to me.
Fantastic.
So we'll fill in that coupon and send it off and see if we can get a free T-shirt or something.
Yeah.
Or a free bicycle from the factory.
Or our own waiting crisps.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
That'd be amazing. I don't think I could eat that.
No. But it would be like sort of, it sounds like a Greek myth, doesn't it? It's like you get given your own waiting crisps, then you eat the crisps, and then you get even more crisps the next time around. It's just never ending, that.
But I don't remember other kids' comics having these sort of inventive competitions like that.
No.
Maybe they did, but I just don't remember them. And a lot of them used to be actually on the cover of this.
Yeah.
And there's a bit in here actually that says something like, next week you will see the winners of our designer cover competition.
Right.
And then I looked at the one next week and it's got 4 different winners on that cover. So you've got 4 different covers drawn by 4 different winners.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just one winner. I can't tell whether that was good or bad, but that's what they did.
Yeah,
and it must have been amazing.
I felt a bit cheaty though. I designed the cover. Goes, well, you designed a bit of it.
You've designed a quarter of the cover.
Yeah.
But can you imagine what that must have been like for a kid?
Oh, it'd be fantastic
to have their at least their idea on the front of a comic like that.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
But it was really good fun reading this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I'm not sure we'll have the same effect with our next one.
Well, I think we will. I think we will.
I'm going to hand this over ceremonially. So next time we're going to be looking at Nutty number 187 from 1983. John, I hand that to you.
Thank you. Thank you kindly for that Nutty comic.
For the benefit of the tape, John now has possession of the Nutty comic.
I don't think you'll be smelling this one. It looks a little bit worse for wear.
It's quite smelly, that one. It's quite
It's
smelly.
already quite smelly.
So all that remains to be said is thank you very much for listening. If you have anything you want to say to us within reason, please drop us a line, including your name, your town you come from, and your age, to our email address, which is dredgehibbett@gmail.com. Here's a jingle.
DREDGEHIBBET@gmail.com.
We can't guarantee that we'll send you a £1 postal order, but in fact we can guarantee that we won't.
Exactly, that's right. And please do like and subscribe wherever you get your subscriptions to, or fill in a coupon and hand it to your newsagent. And I would just like to say before we go, thanks very much to Dave Huxley, who put out a huge pile of free comics on a table the other week, which we've nabbed all of these from, and also to Lou Stringer, John Freeman and David Maloney, who write the blogs which provided most of the information we've given you. So thank you very much to them. And then thank you very much to you, not Dr. John Dredge, aka Dr. Edge.
Thank you, and thank you to you, Mark, so-called Mark Hibbett.
That's me. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.